Hi, how are you tonight? I'm Roberta Colasino, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York. Hence the name 11 Lakes Stamper, because there are 11 Finger Lakes. There's some type of an argument about that. Some people say there are 13. Some people say the other two don't count. I don't know why they don't count, but 11 Lakes has a better ring to it than 13 Lakes, I think. So I'm sticking with that one. Every once in a while somebody asks me where that name came from. If you live around here, then I think you usually know where that came from, but not necessarily. All right, so I had all these plans for the technique I was going to teach you tonight, and then I thought I was going to have to bail out of that because I missed something, completely forgot something, and then I realized I could do it anyway after a little bit of playing around. So I'm kind of excited to bring this to you. I don't think I've done this in quite a while. And I think I did do it in a class once. So, and it's not that it's anything fantastic or anything difficult to do, because it's absolutely not. It's just that it is, it's impressive, I guess is what I would say. It's one that doesn't take a lot of effort. You can learn it in a minute. It's kind of hard to go wrong with it, but it's very impressive. So I am just going to, let's see, yep, I'll turn the camera down and we'll get started. All right, now last week I lowered my tripod so that you wouldn't be as far away and you could see a little bit more of what I'm doing. I also brought it so that it was closer to me, so I'm hoping it would be easier for me to stay in frame. The only problem with having the camera this low, just so that you know, is that I can't always get, like, this sign, which is bigger than my old sign, isn't completely in frame. And if I were working on something big, like a scrapbook layout or a sampler or something like that, I would probably have to raise it back up again, which isn't easy to do. But for now, I think this will help, especially with what we're doing tonight. All right, so here is my new sign. We don't have host codes anymore, and I probably should mention too that as I transfer my videos over from Facebook to YouTube, it might be difficult for people to understand, or at least initially catch on to the fact that some of the products that they're now looking at are no longer available. So we really want to check the dates. And I thought toward that end, I should probably start putting some type of a little calendar right here on my desk, because on Facebook everything has a date. On YouTube it just has the date that it was uploaded, and I'm uploading 5 or 6 a day, and the dates have nothing to do with when the things occurred. So everybody watching those videos will see today's the host code, this is the month's host code, and there is no host code. So if you're new to Stampin' Up, there is no more host code. That ended in April. Okay. So here we go. Here's where I am. You are in 11 Lakes Creatives on Facebook, and I'm now 11 Lakes Stamper on YouTube. And I come to you every Wednesday night, as you can see tonight, with a free paper crafting class. And you can shop with me at this address, and you can email me at this address. All right. So that's that. I always try to put these things where I'll know where they are the next time around. So there are still plenty of last chance products left, and I talked to you about those last week, and the big caution for you on that is that check your savings, because if the bundle is still available but not reduced, don't buy it, because the stamp set, even with the 10% off for buying a bundle, if the stamp set and the dies are reduced enough, the reduction may be more than 10%. So do the math and don't order the bundle unless you're sure that it's really going to be more of a savings. And in most cases, I don't think it will. So I did do a video last week showing all of the things that were left. So, if you have a few minutes, take a look at that, or just get online at www.rcolasino.stampinup.net. And over on the left-hand side, there's a menu, and it says shop. And then it will also say, like, what you're shopping for, and look for something that says, don't look under bundles, because that's not really what you're looking for. Look under, it's not called the clearance rack anymore. It's called Last Chance, but I think it's called Specials. Click on Specials, and that's where you'll see the things that are on sale. I knew it would come to me in a minute. So there is no more clearance rack. Just in case you remember clearance rack, don't bother looking for it, because it's not there. I just realized I didn't check to see if I could see myself, and I wasn't seeing myself. Let's see. Oh, there I am. Okay, life is good. Alrighty, so they're also having a sale right now, and I need to give you some cautions with this one too. It's 50% off. It says all sweets and sweet products, okay, are on sale. Buy one, get the second one 50% off. But there is a catch. And the catch is with most buy one get one sales, I mean if you go to the store it's kind of the same way. You get the half price off of the lowest item. So if you were to buy a $100 dress and a $10 dress thinking, hoo, I'm going to get the $100 dress for $50, that's not the way it works. You get the $10 dress for $5 and you're still paying $100 for the dress. Okay? So it's the same way here. So if you're looking to buy two sweets and that's all you're looking to buy, then you're going to get 50% off of the lowest price sweet. So that's good. But let's say you wanted to buy a sweet and a bundle that you didn't want the entire sweet. You'll get the 50% off the bundle, not the sweet. But you also don't have to buy the entire suite. So if you only want the two bundles, let's say, that go with two different suites, and you're not interested in having all the other stuff, then you will get 50% off the lowest priced bundle. But buying a suite and something else isn't going to be a great bargain for you. So just kind of keep an eye on that. People are recommending that people place more than one order, and that sounds really good, except that there's still shipping and handling. So if you're only placing, one order one day for two suites and one order the next day for two bundles, I'm not sure that you're really saving much unless you're buying a really expensive suites. So take all of that into consideration, because I don't want anybody being unhappy after the fact and saying that they didn't know. All right, I posted my June daily creative prompts calendar yesterday, I think it was, or the day before. If you notice on every one of these calendars, there are 4 pink boxes. And if you do the challenge on the pink box and post a picture of it, I'm getting the hiccups, and post a picture of it, you will win a prize from me. All right, so think about doing that, and they're just suggestions, and as I've said before, there's no need to follow them in the exact order or by the date. It's hard for me to make a calendar. You will win a prize from me. All right, so think about doing that, and they're just suggestions, and as I've said before. Okay, sorry, you were hearing me twice. I lost my train of thought. Yeah, it's just hard for me to make a calendar and call something a calendar and don't put the correct dates in. So that's why I did the dates. But the dates don't matter for anything but classes, and even Paper Pumpkin, I don't know how important those dates are now, because you can now order Paper Pumpkin right online in my online store, which is very cool. All right, so you don't have to go. It was almost like Paper Pumpkin was a separate company, even though it wasn't. So it was kind of confusing to a lot of people. Now you can just go right to my online store, see what the currently available Paper Pumpkin is, and order that. You can order it just once, 1 month. You can order a 3-month subscription, or you can order a 12-month subscription. And I think you save a little on the 12-month subscription. And I will tell you that you can also put something on hold. So let's say you're taking a look at what the June Paper Pumpkin is, and it just doesn't interest you. You can tell them that you want to put that on hold, and they'll let you put it on hold, and so you won't get another one until July. And I think you can do that several times, because I have a customer who has. So I think you can do that within reason as often as you want. I don't know how long you can carry that on, and I'll see if I can find that out, because that would be good to know. Okay, so the other thing that I should say came as a shock to me, but it really shouldn't, because I sort of knew it. But you know how you sometimes know something, but you don't always connect the dots? So I wanted to show you a technique today using Stampin' Up! Masks, okay? And I think I've said to you many times that I think their masks are very similar to stencils, more so than they are similar to masks, but it doesn't matter what you call them. They call them masks. And I remember that we had a sunflower stencil set or mask set that was totally standalone. There was no stamp set that went with it or anything like that. It was just a mask, and it had everything that you needed to make an absolutely beautiful sunflower, and we made it in a class once and everybody just loved it. So when I saw this mask set, I saw that it did come with a stamp set, but I wasn't all that interested in the stamp set, to be honest, because we already had one very similar. And the one that I thought was similar to it was the Stippled Roses. It was definitely different because the new one doesn't have the stippling in it, but it was similar. And I just kind of decided in my head that these masks, must be totally usable without the stamp set, but then every video that I looked at was people using it with the stamp set. So I got a little panicky, and then I remembered that Stampin' Up! Did not have any other masks in the catalog or online right now like they have in the past, the kind of masks that were really just to make like shapes or decorations or whatever. They weren't a certain object, I guess I want to say. So I wasn't sure if this was going to work. So I got them out and I played with them a little bit, and as far as I'm concerned, it worked beautifully. So this was the sample card that I made, and I couldn't be happier with how it turned out. Now for this one, I chose to use, what did I use? Oh, I used strawberry slush. And what I did was for the first layer, I used the strawberry slush but went very light on it. I pushed it off a little bit and I used it very lightly. Then for the second layer, I definitely built it up. I went on darker and I did more darkness, and you can see it here. Over here, I didn't quite get it dark enough. And then for the leaves, I used Old Olive and Lemon Lime Twist, I think it was. And I liked that combination, all right? And then I started to think maybe it would look even better and have more depth if I used 2 or 3 colors, not just 2, but 3 colors. So I realized that I was going to need some re-inkers as well for something I was doing here, and we'll get to that in a few minutes. I was going to need re-inkers, and I didn't have the re-inkers for the strawberry slush yet. So I changed my color scheme to Bubble Bath, Berry Burst, and Petunia Pop for the flowers. And I don't even know if it'll be necessary for the leaves because I think there are only 2 masks that involve the leaves. So I had Old Olive and Lemon Lime Twist before, and I threw Granny Apple Green in, but to be honest, I'm not sure I like the look of that green with these. The Granny Apple Green and the Lemon Lime Twist, to me, just seem very different. So I think I'm probably not going to end up using that. But I was able to use these without any stamp. So with the stamp, there would be much more definition here, but I like the look of this. It's kind of watercolory, and I hope that you like it too. So we're going to, I just realized I didn't cut out as many things as I needed. So maybe what we'll do is we'll go straight to the technique, and then if we have time, I will make another one of these just so you can see it. So the technique that I wanted to use today was to use, and I just wanted to show you something. If you ever see a Stampin' Up! Product, not a stamp obviously because stamp sets don't really go bad, but something like embossing paste or something like the embossing powders or anything like that with this green label, that means that this is old. When I first started as a Stampin' Up! Customer was probably in the, gosh, my daughter was still in elementary school, so probably in the mid to late 90s maybe. Everything was green. Their wrap packaging was green, and now it's all kind of black and white. So I found this, and I said, well, I wanted to do a video about this, so I opened it up. And while it's very pretty in the jar and looks okay, it's hard as a rock. It is cement. Okay, I don't know if it could be reactivated or not, but at the moment it is just cement. And just a little hint, and I don't know how long this would last, but I did learn from a friend of mine, she covers all of her paints and her things like embossing paste with oh my gosh, what's it called? Stretch and seal? Is that what it's called? Press and seal. She covers them with press and seal and then puts the lid on, and she says they last much longer. So this is basically probably trash, although you know me, I'll probably try to revive it just in case because I hate waste. So I did get a new one, and this is the shimmery white embossing paste. And as far as I can tell, we used to have regular white embossing paste and the shimmery white, and it appears that we don't have the shimmery white anymore. So my thought was, I suppose I should open this and just make sure it's okay. Because if it wasn't, that would be bad, huh? Okay, it's got like a double, oh no, that goes there. And I do have some of that press and seal here in my craft room because there's a press and seal stamping technique. Okay, it's nice and soft and shimmery, and now it's on my fingers. Okay, so I thought I would try 2 different things sort of today. So you are going to get to see how this mask works initially with blending brushes, okay? And this was kind of probably a mistake on my part, but I washed my blending brushes this morning. So as I'm touching them now, I can feel a little bit of dampness in them. They really do take a good 24 hours to dry. So I tap them off, and this one's got some color coming off on my hands, which wasn't supposed to happen. I tap them off very, kind of briskly on a towel, and then I did them on paper, and then I even hit them a tiny bit with the heat tool. I don't recommend that, and I don't recommend washing them in hot water, and I'll tell you why. It would seem to me only logically that on the other side of these bristles, there's some type of a fabric that's probably glued into this base. And depending on what type of glue it is, it might not really hold up to heat. So if you use the heat dryer on it for a long period of time, it could loosen the glue. And if you soaked them in any temperature water, that could loosen them. So I never soak them. I wash them under running water, and when they're done, I make sure to tap them off, and then I put them upside down like this on a paper towel or hanging off the edge of the sink so that they can dry and the moisture is coming away from the base. All right, just so you know, that's a good technique. And then these things will last you forever. Now, I really took my time cleaning this one, and I used a special brush cleaner that I have called Masters Brush Cleaner. These I rushed a little bit, and look at the difference though. So it definitely just took a little extra to get this one as clean as it is. But these are both green, so I think we'll be okay, even though a little color is still coming off. And I know this one has brown on it, but it was actually supposed to be orange. And after washing them, I still got all of this color off of them, just from a flyer that I printed the wrong way. All right, so we'll see what happens. So here's my thought. My thought is that I'm going to start with the lightest color, which is Bubble Bath. And I'm not going to use the embossing paste. Now, this is totally an experiment, okay? I used to make fun of my mother-in-law and sometimes my aunt because they would do what I call experimenting on company, which, I just kind of see as kind of a no-no. Experimenting on company doesn't seem like a great idea. But they would, cook something for dinner that they had never made before, ever. And they did that when they were having company, which I always thought that was just a little risky. Sometimes cooking something you've cooked 100 times can be risky, right? You just never know when something's going to go wrong. But trying a brand new recipe when you've got company, although when I say company, I mean family, so it wasn't like, strangers. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere this piece of cardstock, and I'm using Very Vanilla because I just think it looks kind of regal with this. I'm going to adhere that to the paper there, but then I'm going to adhere the paper to my mat, and I'll show you why in a second. When I did it this morning, I didn't do the paper because I thought I don't need the paper. I've got the glass mat and I can just use that. But then I realized that, or I really remembered, that with these masks, and I guess I should point out, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these masks. And I think you really do need to use them all. So you start out with number 1, obviously, and they have these little triangles. And the triangles, or notches, whatever you want to call them, they line up. But if you don't figure out where you had it lined up the first time, then you have nothing to line it up against the second time. So I want to get this where I think I want it. It's funny because I'm thinking I did this upside down this morning, or maybe I just turned it upside down. That's probably what I did. I just turned it upside down. So when I get this where I think I want it, I'm going to, and actually if I put it right up against this edge, that might be helpful. And then I'm going to take one of my micron pens and just make a black notch there, tracing that so that I know where to line up the next ones, okay? And now I could take some... My purple tape is downstairs, but I've got the blue tape. My washi tape is downstairs. I'm in the process of some mass making of journals. I've agreed to do a craft festival on the 27th, 28th, something like that, towards the end of the month, thank goodness. And I'm making journals like crazy, and so far I actually haven't put anything together. What I'm actually doing right now is just, what am I doing? Dyeing the paper and cutting up things to use in the journals. Okay, so I think I have everything so that nothing should be moving here. I've got my mark. Oh, but look at that. It already looks like it moved. That's not good. I was able to line it up this morning, by the way, just using, just using my eyes. But it wasn't super easy, I must say. All right, we're going to stick that up closer to the top. So now I'm going to go over everything in here, and that's the purpose of the mask, because it's covering up the other places where different colors are going to go next. So I'm inking it up. This is Bubble Bath, and I'm still going to go off a little bit. And I can do it, instead of doing it on the paper, this might almost be too light. I might have to build it up. Instead of doing it, oh no, I can see it. Instead of doing it off on the paper like we typically do, I'm doing it here on the mask itself, because if I need more ink, I can go back and pick up some of that ink and use it again. Well, because I'm wiggling while I do this, my chair is squeaking. Sorry about that. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. There we go. Yep, because there's ink up there that I can come back and get again. So, and I think this is exactly what happened this morning. The smaller spots got more dark because there was the same amount of ink on the brushes. All right, and now that I've got this all taped down, I'm looking and I'm seeing that I'm not really in camera view, so I'm going to pick up the whole thing and move it. Then I have to wait for the camera to catch up with me, or Facebook to catch up with me, or whoever has to catch up with me, and see if that's right. Okay, now you can see the whole thing. It's much more helpful if you can see the whole thing, don't you think? All right, so anyway, the smaller spaces got darker because the same amount of ink was on the brush. And I think that's why I thought I didn't see as much of a contrast. But again, I was using the same color the last time. And this time I'm using different colors. All right, so I'm going to do something different this time. I just realized that I think I need to. And actually, I'm still thinking about how part of it's going to work out, and I'm not sure that it will. So we'll have to decide as we go. I don't know that I've ever used my heat gun to dry embossing paste. I think I've just been patient and set it aside and moved on to something else. Which is not like me, by the way. Patience is not my strong suit when I'm crafting. I want it to be dry, I want it to be done, I want it to be ready for the next step, and I want it all now. So I'm not real good about that. All right, sorry for the squeaky chair. I've been complaining about that chair for years. I have two really nice office chairs in the house. One of them is really mine. It was given to me, and it's out in the garage, so it's probably covered in cobwebs and God knows what else. And then there's another one down in the basement that doesn't belong to me, but I'm right now a firm believer of the possession is 9/10 of the law. My son moved out and left it here 5-6 years ago. I don't even know. And I think it's mine now. All right, so I'm going to stop there. I think that's enough to make it dark enough to have a contrast. And of course, right now, that just kind of looks blobby. You know, it doesn't look like much of anything. That's okay. All right, so I'm going to put number 1 aside. Now, normally I would come in now with the Berry Burst or Petunia Pop, or maybe both. I don't know if there's a need for both. Yeah, there is. Okay. And I would put this down, but I'm thinking I should skip a step here, or skip 2 steps, and go to the leaves. All right, and I think that I can do that, and that's okay, because I'm still lining it up, but if you don't use them in order, are things going to get colored that shouldn't get colored later on? I don't think so, because this one covers up all the leaves. I think we're good. And if we're not, we'll both learn something together, right? We'll all learn something together. So I'm matching up the notch, but I'm also looking and just pushing it a little bit in one direction or the other to make it work. So now I'm going to come in with the, what did I decide here? The Old Olive, yeah, and the Lemon Lime Twist. So we'll start with the Lemon Lime Twist because it's the smallest, not the smallest, not the oldest, the lightest. That's the word I'm searching for. It's the lightest. Oh my goodness. All right. So same thing, only this I think will be a lot darker than Berry Burst. So I'm going to get some of that color right off of there on a spot on the mask. so that I can, oops, and I didn't do it that time, and I can pick it up when I want it. That's the nice thing. And by the way, if you were using your silicone mat, if you were doing blending but without a mask to use, you could use your silicone mat for this, or you could use your glass mat for this. My big fear with the glass mat, to be honest with you, is that I'm going to forget that I put something yucky on it and that I'm going to put a card down on top of it. That's my big fear. Other than that, I have no concerns at all with using the glass mat for this, but I'm just afraid that I might make an oops. So you see now I've got all this color over on the edges here that I blended off, and now I can drag it in and use it. Oh my gosh. I'm pretty sure I did oil this chair once. Apparently it didn't do anything. It's probably like about to fall apart, and one of these nights we'll all have a good laugh when you hear a crash and I'm on the floor, and I'll do what they do in the videos. I'll go, I'm okay. Assuming, of course, that I am. All right, we're getting there. And honestly, you don't have to be super careful that everyone has the same depth of coverage, because it's just going to look more natural if it doesn't, to be honest. All right, so here we go again. So already that's looking pretty, but it's still not looking exactly like what you want it to look like. It's still looking like a shadow, right? Okay, so now here's where it could get tricky. So now I've got, no, I think I need to do two this way as well. This is tough. I think that's what I want to do. All right, maybe you're following me and figuring out where I'm going with this. And if you're not, that's okay, because you'll be surprised and it'll be fun. Anybody invited to any graduation parties? I just got invited to one. Did you ever get invited to a graduation party, and when you get the invitation, you look at it and you say, wait a minute, he's like 12 years old. He couldn't be graduating from high school. And yet he is. And no, it's not because he's a genius at 12 years old. It's just that I stopped paying attention to how old he was. Okay, so now I'm going to go with the Petunia Pop, which is a shade darker than the Bubble Bath, but not as dark as Berry Burst. At least that's what I think. That's what I'm hoping for. It could be close. So I think what I'll do with the Petunia Pop is I'll go a little bit light. Like I won't go too strong-armed, too heavy-handed. See how I'm picking that up, though? Isn't that neat? And then if I put one over here, then I can use that and drag it over this way. All right, I think I want to take a peek. I don't know if I can show you. Oh, that's so pretty. See that? Isn't that so pretty? It is so pretty. Okay. I like the masks like this, but I like the ones that are just plain, decorative, like the linked together mask that I did a couple of cards with when I was in Florida, if you remember that. Okay, so I think now I'm going to go ahead and use 3, because if I can't do the leaves the way I want to, or maybe I can't do them when I want to, then I don't know. I'm not sure what the next step is going to be for that, to be very honest with you. So here's the deal. Oh, but you know what? It's going to be lighter anyway. So here's what I'm trying to get at, people. In case you're wondering, what the heck is this woman talking about? I'm about to tell you. So I want to use the embossing paste, but I don't want to use white embossing paste because I don't want white. I want a darker color. So I've got my palette knife, and I believe we still sell these. Sometimes I just assume things and I don't look at the catalog or online the way I should. I don't want to take out too much because once I color it, I can't put it back in and I hate to waste it. But I think that will be enough, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the Petunia Pop re-inker, and I'm going to drop a couple of drops Okay, that was a few drops. Let's see. It's okay if it's very dark, actually, because I was concerned that the white might sort of water it down a little bit. And I want it to be darker. Uh-oh, this wasn't supposed to be Petunia Pop. This was supposed to be Berry Burst. Oh, all right, well, I'll tell you what. I am not throwing all that out. So I'm going to add some Berry Burst to it, and I think it'll be plenty dark. Maybe 2 drops of Berry Burst. Anyway, I started to say somewhere along the way in school, I think I asked somebody, sometimes I was a little bit rambunctious this way, or precocious, I don't know. I asked, what was a couple and what was a few? And I was told in no uncertain terms that a couple meant 2 and a few meant 3. And anything above that meant you could say, you would use the exact number, or you would say a number of. But if you said 1, a couple, or a few, those really had numbers attached to them. Did y'all know that? Because I didn't. Well, I was in elementary school, so I think I had a right not to know. All right, so now I'm going to put this on, and I'm going to line this up, and I'm really going to try to do my best to make sure this is good, because I don't want this this very bright pink embossing paste on anything green, although it probably would not be the end of the world. It looks like I'm pretty well lined up there. So now I'm going to get my tape and tape this down. So the big question that I had in my head is that once I get this done, if I wanted to come back and do the same thing with number 5 for the leaves in Old Olive, I would probably almost definitely have to wait until this is completely dry. So we're not going to make it heavily textured, because that's just not going to work for what we're doing here. So I'm going over the spots, and I can tell already I have enough to make 5 cards here, because you truly don't need too much. All right, now you can really gop it on and make it heavily textured if that's the look you're going for, and often I do like that look, but because I'm doing a layered card, I don't think that's a good idea. I'm also really hoping that I can get this dried. So it looks really goppy now, I can tell, but it's not, because I'm flattening it out. I've got the knife at like a little bit of an angle, and I'm flattening it out, kind of like you would do if you were frosting a cake. So now, the other thing I need to give you a warning about, besides not touching that, oh, doesn't that look so cool? This stuff, when it dries, it's like concrete. So if you can, get it in like a bucket of water right away, because it's like concrete. It's awful. And I still have some on masks and stencils that I have, because it's just not coming off. I've soaked it in hot water. I've done everything, and it won't come off. All right. So because I don't have a bucket of water here with me, I probably should have. If you're doing this, get like a dish pan, one of those, just a regular Rubbermaid dish pan or whatever. And just put a little bit of soapy water in it, and just throw them in it when you're done with them. I'm going to cover it with a baby wipe, which will keep it moist. I'm hoping. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. Okay, I'm covering it with a baby wipe. I just love the way that looks, and I'm so sad that I made all of that, and I'm wondering if I just have to make another card sometime today or tomorrow, and if I can save that, and I'm not sure that I can. And now my knife is dirty, and I want to clean it off. So I'm thinking that because that's not too thick, although, well, I can't really pick it up and show it to you just yet. Maybe, no, I don't want to pick it up, but there is texture. Can you see that? I know you can see the color. I'm looking in my computer, and I can see it, but I don't want to pick it up. So I'm going to, let's see if I can scrape. Yeah, it's not gonna work. I think I'm gonna have to just say goodbye to it. I'm sorry I wasted you. Oh, I'm so sorry I wasted you. Okay. I know, I'm a bit of a nut job when it comes to wasting things. I can't help it. Yeah, and on the silicone mat, I can feel it. It's already drying on there, but it won't turn to concrete, and it will come off. That is the beauty of the silicone mat. All right, oh, I'm going to be all sparkly, and I want to get all the pink off of here. Just give me a minute. Patience. All right. Put that in the garbage, and I have sparkly things on my hands, but it's not like glitter. You know what I mean? It's going to come off, and I'm not going to find it on my face in 3 days or. Okay, so what I'm thinking. And while I'm doing all this cleaning and yapping, it's starting to dry already, I'm sure. I just don't want to mix any. You know what? I could just flip that over. It's got two sides, just like our cardstock and our DSP. Look at that. Okay, I'll save that in case I need it again. So I'm going to take my heat gun. I should call it my heat tool. I don't know why everybody calls it like glue guns, heat guns. Everything's a gun, right? All right, excuse the noise. I'm not going to go down too low because I'm afraid it might bubble. I'm also concerned I might actually melt it. I've never tried to do this before. Okay. I'm also seeing, well, it's dry to the touch, which doesn't mean it's not squishable. But you know what? I think drying it with the heat tool, we lost some of the shimmer. I'm not seeing as much shimmer. So that's kind of makes me sad too. All kinds of stuff just making me sad tonight, right? Wasting, losing shimmer. All right, so let's get this one lined up, and I'm not pressing down on it, so that should be good. I just really want to make sure it's lined up as well as I can get it lined up. I think it's going to look beautiful whether I don't get it lined up perfectly or not. And my finger stuck to it, so I moved it. All right, I'm trying to look at these places where there are just little dots and see if they're lined up. And then I just threw away a piece of my tape because it had pink stuff on it. So let's get another piece of tape. And now we're going to use the Old Olive, and I don't really need the ink pad for this. So, Old Olive Reinker, where are you? Here we go. All right. All right, we're going to go a lot lighter this time. Now watch, this time I won't have enough. Okay. And let's go for a few or 3 dots. Oh, maybe not. That looks really dark. 2 dots. A couple of dots. Let's see. Oh yeah, I think that's plenty dark enough, especially compared to the lemon lime twist. I think that's going to be just fine. So we're mixing it all up. Yeah, and it has a lot of shimmer, so I think using the heat tool takes the shimmer away, which is, you know, kind of the whole point of using shimmer paste, right? All right, so I'm going to lightly go over everything once. I'm trying to hold that down because if I go under the mask, if you know what I mean by that, like when you're stenciling, if you get under something, then your stuff ends up in the wrong place, like your paint if you're painting. So I'm gonna, it's not laying flat, so I'm gonna have to hold it. So pardon my hand if I'm covering up part of what I'm doing, but I think you've got the general idea by now, right? So look at, I barely have enough, but I'm scraping off some from some other areas, and I think it will work. And then I got some on the other side. Oh, that's not even colored yet. Okay. I just want to make sure I don't miss any. Completely, anyway. Yeah, I can see it has not gotten in all of the spots that it should be getting in. I have a feeling that I'm messing this up and that it's getting underneath, but I'm hoping, ooh, got some on my knuckle, hoping it will look good anyway. So now I'm just trying to scrape some of the mess off. Oh yes, oh that looks so pretty. All right, let's get rid of the tape and let's get, all right. I want to get this where it can't be harmed in any way. I say that now, but I'm sure I could find a way to harm it. All right, let's just get that right out of the way for a minute anyway, a few minutes. Put it there. Okay, I don't think I need this anymore. We'll get that out of the way. And then I want to cover this with another wet wipe and hope that that does the trick, or at least helps. Okay, So let's go back to my sample card for just a minute and let that one dry. So here's my sample card. Definitely a totally different look, and that's fine. All right, so I decided, oh dear, I decided that I wanted to use the black background because you know how I like that because it pops. If I had been making like light blue roses, I would have done like a navy blue background, Night of Navy, or even the new, whatever that new color is called. What is that new color called? Secret Sea. Secret Sea. Okay. I'm going to put this on top of that too. Oops, sorry. Hit the camera. So I decided that I wanted the black background, so I decided that I wanted the background for the sentiment to be the same. I think whatever's over here is actually left over from another project. But it's coming right off. Everything comes right off this glass mat, and it doesn't seem to stain or anything, so I'm really liking this. And as long as I don't have overhead lighting like some of the other demonstrators have where you can see their ring light or their lamp or their chandelier in it, well, that's why a lot of them stopped using it. And I could probably have better lighting than I have, but what can you do? All right, I'm going to kind of just wrap that up in that and find a reasonably safe place to stash that over here. Okay, I just keep checking my hands because I don't want to ruin this card. Anyway, so then I thought for this card, the new card, I would want to do something similar, and I would want a sentiment, and I kind of like hello, but I thought, you know, that looks okay, don't get me wrong, but it is kind of plain Jane. So I thought I really want to use the point-to-point punch to create my sentiment strip or whatever you want to call it. But I thought, well, here's the problem. If you have a sentiment strip or sentiment thing this large on a card this pretty, you're going to be covering up a whole bunch of it, and I don't want to do that. So this is where I'm going to show you, I wouldn't call it a technique, it's more like a tip or a trick. All right, and I don't know if I'm going to get to put this on here or not. So I think, unless it's my imagination, I think that the green has more sparkle to it than the berry burst does, and I think it's because we heat the berry burst. Notice I've got you in there now, so I'm blaming you. We did it. You were right in there with me. We did it together. So I kind of, well, I don't know. I can still see it. I would like to heat it. But I can show you the trick no matter what, okay? So we'll put this back for another couple of minutes, let it dry some more. So I cut out 2 of these with the idea that I wanted to do that thing where you cut it in half and back it on it. But if I want to use the hello sentiment, and my sentiments tonight, my choices were, the choices I gave myself were from Simply Said, and I love the hello and the thanks. I like that font a lot. I wanted to keep it with something long and skinny so that I wouldn't be covering up too much of the roses. On the other hand, too, this one, I mean, I had the other card going this way. There's nothing that says, to me, this isn't directional. I could put this one in any direction. So this one could go landscape, which would give me more room over here or over here. That helps to know. But here's my trick. All right, if I'm going to use, let's say, just the thank you or just something that's kind of short that will fit on here, what I can do is I can take this one that I've already cut out that's full size, okay, and I can stick it, and this is a little tricky. Sometimes it's easier to come in this way, but then what you've got to do is, let me make sure you can see what I'm doing. You've got to be able to, I'm going to put it down, grab this part, okay? Because really what you want, and I came in from the side because I thought it would be easier, but maybe not. No, I do think it's easier. What you really want is to just cut this other part here, and you do have to be a little bit of a whatever. You've got to be a little tricky. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking it and I'm pushing it further in here. All right, I don't know how far it'll go, and I don't know if I have to stop at one point and then do it again. So let's say I do. I'm going to push it in there as far as I can get it, and I'm going to press down. So now I've made that sentiment. I keep wanting to call it a strip, but it's really not a strip. What is it? What's the word I'm looking for? I made that thing shorter. All right, so is that going to be short enough to make me happy if it's over here with some black and I'm really just putting a small word on it? I don't think so. So I'm going to try to do that again. But what's happening is I'm running into a stopping point here where it's only letting me go so far. So I'm going to have to play with it and probably do it more than once. So I'm pushing it in now and I'm holding it. It's hard for me to see, so I don't know if it's straight. And I'm going to press it down again. And I'm cutting that out. Now we have this. Totally different than what we had before, but that's okay, right? But we use something a little bit fancier, a little bit nicer than just cutting it with a piece of paper or the paper trimmer. So I think I'm going to do that. Now, though, I have to make sure that I get it straight when I stamp it. I actually think, do I want to stick with hello? Do I want to do thanks? Oh, it would be such a nice birthday card, but I don't think I have enough room for happy and birthday. At least not from this set, and I don't want to go digging. So I think I'll go with thanks, which I think will fit on there. We'll find out in a minute, right? Now on this card, I used the basic gray instead of black, although with all the black I used, I certainly could have used the black. On this one, I suppose I could use like a dark green, or I could use the Berry Burst, but I still like the idea of a little contrast. That's just me, though. You know, you don't have to do what I do. Set that over here. I'm still afraid I'm going to put something on it or drop something on it. I'm imagining that it's like reasonably, hard to the touch, but not hard enough to drop something on it. All right, let's see. I'll go with the black this time, and we'll see how we like it, because I am going to put that on a black background. Oh, you know what, though? This has to be trimmed down, and I didn't leave a lot of room up there, but I have some room on the side. The other alternative would be to put it on a black background, and then I wouldn't have to trim it down as much. So that's a thought, too. I might wait and do some of that off camera, because I don't know if I want to slide that into a paper trimmer just yet. We will see. All right, so thanks. And I'm using the Memento Black ink that I have in my empty white pad. Yes. Okay, it's straight. And yeah, I'm just loving using this pad versus the linen pad. It just gets a much cleaner stamp, which is why we probably changed all of our stamp pads. Scissors. Okay. So now I don't have to make this as big. In fact, I'm really going to have to struggle to make sure it's small enough, but I don't want to make it too small. So we'll start out with this and then trim it as needed. Okay, I could trim a little bit more over that because I've still got another half to come in, right? Okay. Okay, so we'll get some ink there, ink glue. This process of transferring my videos over from Facebook to YouTube has made me realize, because I've watched some of them, I'm toying with the idea of editing some of them, but that's going to have to wait until all of them are downloaded. It's really made me aware of the silly mistakes that I made, like calling ink glue and calling glue ink and calling something a stamp instead of a stamp pad and calling a block a stamp, and yeah, gosh. Sometimes I catch myself, but very obviously, many times I don't catch myself. So if there have been times when you were just wondering what the heck I was talking about, now I understand why you would be wondering that, because I was wondering that myself. Okay, so I'm just leaving like the tiniest bit. Let's see, we gotta wiggle that a little bit before it dries. Come back. Here we go. I don't want a lot sticking out. I want just a small margin. So you see, I really did have to cut that down quite a bit instead of just cutting it in half. Okay, I'm happy with that. And I think that's really classy looking. And I don't know that a strip is, quite as classy looking as that. Just my thoughts. They don't count for too much. All right, let's see where we're at here. Okay, so the one that I did not hit with the heat tool is definitely not totally dry to the touch either. So we're going to do just a little bit more. I'm still a little bit nervous about sticking it under a paper trimmer to cut it down. So if we wanted to do it like the other one, then we would mount it on black. I would have to cut it down because right now they're the exact same size, so I would have to trim it a little bit, not a lot, on either side, so that there would be just a little bit showing. We could have it definitely go this way instead of the other way, and the card could just open the other way. And then the black part was the same size as the card base in my sample. And then this could go on here where just a little bit of it would be overhanging no matter which side it was on. So I'll put that together and take pictures of it, and I may do a little bit of embellishment because I'm thinking as long as it's got some bling, it could use some more bling. So we have this one, and then we have this one, which is not quite done yet, or I could choose to put it on a black card base. I don't know if I have a black card base sitting right here. You know what I do have, though, which might be kind of interesting, talking about that Secret C. I do have a Secret C card base, and it's so dark. Let's see how it looks on camera. It's so dark that it's like a grayish blue. Someone said it was a bluish black. I don't know that there is such a thing as a bluish black, but that's just me. I don't know. It would look okay on that. It really would. And then it makes me wish that I had the ink pad, because then I would have stamped this on the same, but they're so close. I don't think it matters very much. So I could put it on that or on a black card base. Either way, or do it the same way I did the other one. There are always lots of possibilities. So let's just see if I can. So now that I'm doing the transfer to YouTube thing, I need a thumbnail for YouTube. So every time I do a video, I need a thumbnail sketch to go as like with the title of the video on YouTube. So sometimes I didn't take pictures of the cards that I made, and I really do apologize for that because I was supposed to do it every time, and apparently I didn't. So now I'm trying to get them into the end. I'm trying to make a point of getting them into the end of the Facebook Live video so that I can take a screenshot on my computer, which I learned how to do too. I just never had a need to do it. You know, you do it on your iPad and you do it on your phone. I never did it on my computer. I figured there had to be a way. I just didn't know what it was. So that way I'm going to keep moving things though. So I've got them both in frame. Anyway, so that is using a mask without the stamp set. Now that being said, after seeing all those videos done where people made the masks or made the cards using the mask and the stamp set, you know, I kind of want the stamp set now. So, yeah, that's just the way it is, right? I do sort of want it. And since Stippled Roses went out, this will be my new Stippled Roses without the stippling. But I think it's beautiful either way. And I even thought of, like, later on tonight, taking my 01 micron pen, which is the one that's, is it the 01 that's kind of like a hair, or the 05? No, the 05. I mean, seriously, I don't even think you can see it. But I'll show you both of them. That's how fine tip they are. The 01 is literally like the size of a thick hair, maybe. Can you see how tiny those points are? Maybe. The fact that you can't even see them tells you something, right? You can't even see them because that's how tiny they are. So now I gotta get the right cap on them because the cap says what size they are. Okay. So I was thinking of taking one of these and outlining, but I'm afraid I might mess it up. So I don't know if I will or not. Maybe I'll do it on an experiment on a separate sheet of paper. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me tonight, and catch me on the replay and catch me on YouTube at 11 Lake Stamper. And I will see you 1 week from today. Have a great night.